Edward, hello. I hear that you're having trouble on the dating apps. Is that right? Yes, it goes around. That kind of talk really does go around, especially, you broke up with Bella. It really didn't work out between the two of you, and now you're searching for someone new, right? Well, I have you heard of vegans? Yes, I know. Okay, let's just get a few things straightened out. I know you're a vampire, right? We don't have to go through this whole thing again, right? You're a vampire. You drink blood, blah blah blah. It's sexy and cool and whatnot. That's not what matters. What matters is, I heard, through the grapevine, that there is a lot of benefits to veganism, right? And in terms of veganism, I heard that you were vampire vegan in the sense that you only eat animals, or drink the blood of animals, which I feel like is kind of the antithesis of what being a vegan is. Just throwing it out there. Vegans consume no animal products, and you're saying you consume exclusively animal products. I feel like there's just a little bit of a discrepancy. So here's what I'm thinking. Let's change the definition here, right? You're not a vampire vegan unless you drink vegan blood, right? So it would be humans, and it would be sort of like, you'd have to find a vegan, drink their blood, and there's many, many benefits. There's also some side effects and whatnot, but I'm going to prepare you, because the last time you dated, it was the 2000s, right? It was, dating apps weren't really a big thing, and now it's sort of like you can't get away from it, right? Hinge, Tinder, Grindr, whatever it is. You need to be able to really pop off in these circles. So I'm going to make you pop, okay? I'm just going to make you pop, looks wise, and I'm going to explain to you why you should go after vegans, okay? Okay, yeah. So, what app are you using? I need to see your profile, right? So, okay. Okay, well, good thing I have that app downloaded. Yep. Okay, and you tell me, so what is your name on there? You really have to try and find something a little less obvious, Yeah, should not be going by Crystal Dick 69. I think that is a bit much, but okay. Okay, I see your profile. That's a horrible, horrible picture. Let me remind you. This is a horrible picture. Okay, we have a lot of work to do. Okay, well. It's weird because you actually look very handsome. You're very attractive. Let's just highlight a few things, okay? So, I know that you're very pale, so you probably don't need any foundation, but you like to look like you're young, so maybe we should foundation your beard away. You have just a little bit of stubble, but if we put foundation that's your color, pale ghost white, I think that would end up being good for you. So let's go ahead and start with that. Here, let's see. Okay. So we have our foundation. Don't worry, it does look like it's a more of a normal tan skin, but actually I'm going to mix it with some chalk, so it will work just well for you, okay? Okay, well, let's talk about vegans. Yeah? Okay, so vegans, they are the lifeblood of the entire universe, okay? There is sort of an ethical thing of okay, I mean, I don't know if you really know what vegans are, considering we thought that being vegan meant drinking just animal blood. But, it's mainly, some vegans are there because they really dislike sort of animal cruelty. But I think a lot of vegans are more so they're anti-capitalist or they're anti the meat industry, right? And the like animal how animals are treated within the industry. That's mainly what it is. So one of the really big benefits is that you're going to learn a lot, from your partner. Think about Bella, right? What did she teach you? Nothing. You were just infatuated, and for what? Stay still. Yeah, I'm just getting your beard here. Okay. So, yeah, think about Bella. What did she ever teach you? She was a really great person for other people to sort of see themselves in, but in terms of like an actual person, perhaps she, her most, her biggest contribution to just society as a whole is you named my baby after the Loch Ness Monster. I mean, at that point, she just went downhill after that. Okay. And then she allowed Jacob to do whatever with her child. I don't like that. So I'm glad you broke it off. So, veganism. I think that one of the benefits that I heard is that you are going to sparkle a lot more when you are a vegan, an actual, like you're drinking vegan blood. I think it's because vegans tend to have a lot of fiber. They end up having a lot of carbs and fiber and fat. And they struggle with a lot with protein and iron. And your body is completely, you don't really need protein per se. You need blood. You need that like juiciness, right? And so I think that it really does help with the crystallization of your different skin cells, which we will get to, by the way. I think I can maybe sculpt a little bit in there. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Okay. Okay, all right. I think that's good. Let me put this back. And we will head over. Let's give you a little bit of blush, right? We want, I know you can't flush, right? Like your cheeks cannot flush. You are a vampire after all. But you want to look a bit demure, right? You want to look like you can't kill somebody. And listen, I give you permission from all humans to just kill the vegans if you want. It's not going to be a big deal. A lot of vegans tend to be kind of annoying, so I'm just going to say you can just go ahead and suck their blood. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? An investigation. You're really fast. Are they going to catch you? And you're pretty much invincible. The only people that are going to get upset is like other vampires, and at that point, I mean, the only reason I would say not to kill vegans, I'm trying to fit in here. So the only reason I would say not to kill vegans is that if you suck just enough blood and stop it, right? I know that you're turning them into a vampire, but isn't there like a line you can be at where you suck enough blood, they stay human, their body just does all the natural things, like they get anemia or something, and then they replenish that blood within their system, and then you can just suck that blood again. Yeah, I think I would definitely advocate for you're already Mormon, right? You can have multiple wives, right? So why don't you just have many different vegans, and they're on like a rotation, right? Because they can only replenish blood every 3 months. So then you just keep sucking blood every, how many can you have in Mormonism? Okay, well, it's enough to work with, right? It's an option. Anyway, let's go ahead and give you some blush because we want you to look demure, right? We want your real personality, your demure personality to come out. Okay. This blush is very pale. But it will look really strong on your skin, I believe. So don't worry. And I know just because you're Mormon, you're maybe a little bit worried about having makeup on you or something, but this is just for the abs. This is just to take photos. Okay, we're just going to take a few photos. We're going to try and make sure that you are, you're presenting your best self, right? And vegans, they don't play around, you know, they can sniff like bullshit from like a mile away. So if you are presenting a really horrible, you need to, if you're presenting something that you aren't, you need to be very precise about it so that vegans don't catch wind of it. Okay. Okay. So, stay still. Okay. Right. Another benefit to drinking the blood of vegans is that you're going to be doing a huge service to the animals. So I don't know if you understand the reason why we don't let cats out of the house. You don't? Okay, well, here, let me explain it to you. We don't, oftentimes, house cats here, we tend to keep them in the home because they are sort of like, they are predators. They do genocide a lot of the birds that are outside, and they destroy complete ecosystems, right? You know, we bring them there and we let the ecosystem completely die because we want our cat to be outside. So we tend to let them stay inside so that the ecosystem can flourish and the ecosystem can do what it does. And I think that you, as someone who would be sucking the blood of vegans, you would be essentially sparing all of those poor animals that you have been mercilessly killing for a while now. Right? I mean, like, yes, killing a boar is better than killing a human, but killing a vegan, I mean, plus, I think the more vegan blood you suck, the more vegan essence becomes a part of you, right? So I do think that at a certain point you just become vegan, like actually. And then you can, you know, eat that plus the benefits. The only issues that I have with veganism in terms of like you becoming vegan is that you are going to have nutrition problems. This is something that all vegans end up going through. You know, there's going to be nutrition problems. You're going to need to figure out what foods provide the proper nutrients for you to actually live. Now, of course, you are a vampire. Blood is the main thing. But I imagine, you know, that like instead of protein, carbohydrates, like fiber 1, fiber 2 and whatnot, you as a vampire would then require, you know, O positive, O negative, B positive blood and that sort of thing. And so I imagine that vegans are a lot more varied in that way. Because, and you know, I imagine universal donors are sort of like, they're sort of like the fast food of your culture. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Well, I'm looking at the blush here. The blush is looking good. So, I wanted to mention something. I saw you playing piano the other day, and it was really wonderful, but you had real claws, right? Like your nails are really sharp. Do you file them at all? You don't. Okay. Why is that? I see, because they're sort of, they don't really grow anymore. So you're very precious about it. You know, you want to keep what you have of like your previous life. If you've had it for like over 100 years at this point, well, I do think we should file it a little bit because they are very spooky. Okay. Yeah. You know, gloves are not in this season. So I do think it's going to be hard for you to hide them. So you're going to have to give it to me. Okay. Okay. Come on. Listen. This is why you have me around. There we go. See? Now we take off some of that edge. And we're not going too far, okay? We're not going too far. It's just a little bit, okay? It's like, you're like a cat. You know, you're cutting the claws off. Not off, but you're cutting, you're just like trimming the claws of a cat. And then you're making a big fuss of it, So what if it's never going to grow back? I mean, did you really need it? Do you need nails? I don't know. Anyway, another issue with vegans, I would say, is that, not vegans in general, but you becoming a vegan, is that it is going to be a bit of a hassle for you to navigate the freegan space. If you don't know, freegans are basically vegans that only eat food that's for free. Now, the jury's still out as to whether they have animal byproduct or not. It's mainly that they have things for free, right? They're a freegan, not necessarily a vegan. But you need to be careful, right? Because, you have really sensitive smells, right? You smell people very sensitively. So I would imagine that you would smell them from a mile away. But you know what? Hygiene technology has come a long way since your time. So perhaps they'll be able to mask their scent. And you are going to have a harder time with that. Yeah, no, that's a very good, you're welcome. It's a very good tip, I'm sure. And of course, I think that veganism as a whole in humanity is very important. And the only reason that I'm urging you to become vegan in this way is so that you can get a taste for it, right? So that you can spread the word, right? And the most important thing about being a vampire vegan, I think, there's a whole new community for it. There's a Facebook group. You vampires are so old. The only thing you use is Facebook. Honestly, it's you and boomers, but you're basically older than boomers. So what do I know? Okay, your nails are looking pretty good here. Let's see them. Gimme. Okay. Pretty good. All right, let's give you a little bit of a spritz here. It's going to be a nice rose water cleanse. So, those little pitiful spritzes, but I try to not put too much. It's a very light scent. Oh no, it's giving you a migraine. Well, you know what? It's your fault for being such a, good vampire, I guess. It's not really my fault here. Anyway, let's go ahead now. Something we need to do. Your chest, right? I know you hide it. You're very modest, but when you're on these apps, being modest and being subtle doesn't really work, right? Because if you're subtle, no one's going to actually pick up on it because media literacy these days is completely dead. So what we need to do is I'm going to put a little bit of serum. And then what the serum is going to do is it's going to help glisten the crystals of your skin. Because you want, you'd think that people would think you're a vampire, but these days with the horrible AI, all of the filters and effects that you can put on people, they're not going to think that, basically, unless they see you in real life sparkling like the goddamn sun, I don't think that they're going to think you're a vampire, okay? Plus, the fact that vampires sparkle is probably the most infamous thing. And the fact that it is actually real is, let's just say, is kind of unbelievable. But you know what? I'm down for it. I'm down for the sparkle. So let's go ahead and get some of the serum on you. Okay, you're getting into the idea of drinking vegan blood, yeah. And I think it'll present you a nice challenge, right? Because if you mainly go after vegans, they're not dissimilar to Bella. It's not like Bella was completely, she exhibited vegan tendencies, right? Let's go ahead. So present your chest to me. Okay. I'm just going to then rub. And then rub. Rub, 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 rub. Okay. Perfect. Okay. How are you feeling? You're looking great. You know, it's very minor sort of enhancements, right? Your hair already looks perfect. I don't know what you do to it. I also imagine that if you cut your hair in any way, it doesn't grow back. So this is a question I've had for a very long time, but like your bodily fluids, they don't work, right? Because you're dead. So then with Bella and what happened? You know what? Let's move on. Okay. So, I think the last thing we need to do is take a few pictures, right? Okay. So, stay still for me. I'm going to send them to you, right? I'll airdrop them to you. So, okay. And, okay. And, perfect. Okay. Over here. Okay. And then over here. Okay, now look like you want to devour me. Okay? Okay. Yeah, bare the fangs. Bare the fangs. There's plenty of vampire filters. They will not think you're an actual vampire, so. Okay. All right. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, let me just airdrop that to you. Okay, all good. So, I'm sure the vegans will, once you put those pictures up, I'm sure the vegans will completely fall for you, okay? And reminder that if you do end up going to the rest of the Cullens and let them know about this vegan situation, there is a lot of vegans that completely would love to be a part of the Cullens. Now, what I will say is that there is a group of vegans that have been mean to me for a while, and if you do go after them, if you do develop a taste for the vegan blood and you do go after them, I would consider it a personal favor for me. Okay? Yeah, consider it payment, and I'm not saying kill them, you don't have to kill a vegan, right? I mean, that's very gauche. You don't want to kill a vegan. What you want to do is just scare them a little, take a little bit of their blood, threaten them, maybe, show them that vampires do exist and that their entire worldview is completely fabricated and that they're, they're quite small within the universe. But other than that, I think that you don't need to do much else, Okay. Yeah. Okay then. Well, I will see you later. And you're going to have to let me know how it goes with the vegans. Okay.